Alright guys, well we are at the Huawei Mate 30 Pro launch event, and it is kind of pandemonium. There are a lot of people here, and I'm going to level with you. We didn't really get the phone ahead of time, or we didn't get to shoot it in a special room or anything. So we're just going to show you what it's like on the show floor here. So I'm kind of into this. Basically, Huawei set up all these stations that show the different features of the phone. So I figured there's probably not a better way to do this than to just show you all the different stands. So let's go. Alright, so first of all, clearly we've got the specs, and yes, this is the first Huawei phone to use the Kirin 990 processor. So it's the newest processor from Huawei. It's got a built-in 5G modem. Of course, it's sub 6 gigahertz. It's not going to be the millimeter wave modem, but still, those millimeter wave isn't really going to be going to the regions where Huawei is shipping this phone anyway, so that's okay. As for other specs, we've got 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage in the Pro model. There's also a Porsche Design Edition, which has 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. So that's pretty exciting. It's basically what you would expect to see in a professional high-end Huawei phone. Nothing really special here, but I'll throw up the spec sheet so you can see it anyway. Also, there's going to be this Mate 30 Pro 5G version. So you could probably assume that that was going to happen, but of course, there it is. And there's going to be these leather models, which I think is very cool. Apparently it's vegan leather, which is also really interesting. Okay, and we've also got a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty good. It's bigger than Huawei usually ships, which is nice. It's not like the 6,000 milliamp hour battery that we saw on the Asus ROG Phone 2, but it is still pretty big for a phone. And we've got new Huawei Supercharge. So it also supports 27-watt wireless charging, which is really exciting. And they've got these new car chargers that will charge it at a super fast rate as well as these other random car chargers over here. All right, next station. Let's go. Okay, so for the cameras, this is probably one of the most exciting parts of any Huawei phone, but this year you've got two really big camera sensors. You've got two 40 megapixel camera sensors, and one of them is a 3x2 sensor as well, which is really interesting. It's a much bigger sensor than we see in pretty much any smartphone out there. It's like a 1/1.5 inch sensor, which is pretty huge. Also, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro can record extremely high frame rate video. It is 7,680 frames per second, which is just stupid. I think that Sony introduced 960 frame per second video, but this is probably using some software magic to add some interpolation in there. Huawei basically showed us that they could record the video of a hummingbird and you could see the wings flapping in real time, so that is really exciting. Now, they also talked about the camera having like special night mode features so that you could do astrophotography and all this other different type of stuff. And of course, the Huawei P30 Pro had really, really good night mode and night photography in general. When you just took a picture outside at nighttime, you could see pretty much everything that you couldn't see in any other phone. So we're going to have to put this to the test, but we're really excited. We've got two 40 megapixel sensors on here, and then a telephoto 3x telephoto sensor, so it's not the 5x telephoto zoom that we saw in the Huawei P30 Pro, but it's 3x, so that's pretty good anyway. Okay, and now on the front-facing camera, you've got a special sensor in there as well that does face recognition. So it's able to basically recognize if that's you, and it's able to recognize what angle you are looking at the phone at. So if you turn your head, it recognizes that and turns the image. So I guess that's useful if you have the phone on a table or something. This is obviously a relatively extreme example, but it's pretty cool. Recognizes your face and your face only, and if someone else tries to look at your notifications while you're looking at them, it will hide them, so that's pretty interesting too. Now, other major things are it's using EMUI 10, which is based on Android 10, and that's actually pretty interesting because that means that the Huawei Mate 30 Pro is still one of the first Android phones that is using Android 10. So we've seen a couple of other phones being upgraded to Android 10. The OnePlus 7 Pro was updated to Android 10. The Pixel series was updated to Android 10. But considering the whole situation with Google and Huawei right now, it's very interesting to see the Huawei Mate 30 Pro on Android 10. Now, just because it's on Android 10 does not mean that you have access to Google Play services. And on these phones, no Google Play services right now. Now, we did hear that there might be a third-party way to get Google Play services on the phone, and that still may be true, but currently Huawei has no official way to do this, so it might be a little weird if you want to buy this phone. Also, they didn't actually give us a availability for Europe. Of course, it's not coming to the US, but they didn't give us any availability for Europe or China for that matter, so we don't actually know when this phone is coming out. But yeah, you're probably going to have to sideload Google Play services on this phone.
Is it? But
also, Google Play services is not on this phone, which is a little bit weird, but they didn't actually give us availability for Europe or China or really anything.
got European price, but
we got European
no
pricing,
availability. So.
Yes, so there's also a regular non-pro version that is 799 euros.
Yeah.
There's a pro version which is
more.
1,099 euros.
Yeah, and a 5G one for
The
100
5G version is 1,199 euros.
Yep.
And then the Porsche Design Edition, which has 12 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage, is 2,049 euros, which is really, really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's run over to the next station.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, because of that waterfall display, there's actually no volume rockers. So as you can see, Alex here is sliding his finger up and down the phone in order to turn the volume up and down. And I tried it for myself. It's a little bit weird. Kind of hard to use overall. Like, you have to double tap very hard in a very specific place in order to actually make it work. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be very happy with this. Now, the waterfall display was a big feature from Huawei, and they made it seem like a very big deal because it has a bigger screen to body ratio and there's like no bezel gap on the side. But I don't really think that's very useful. I don't know, like, you tell me, do you think that's useful? Do you think it's totally pointless? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, guys, this event has been kind of nuts. That's just been a brief kind of like overview. I did get to try the phone for a little bit. It was definitely a little bit hard to hold because of that waterfall display, but I'm really actually pretty excited to be able to test that camera system because it's got one of the biggest sensors in a smartphone so far, and two 40 megapixel sensors that are actually huge are going to be very, very cool. And I really want to try some like astrophotography and other stuff like that. So, thanks for bearing with me. This has been an insane event, and I just wanted to try this random style. Let me know what you think of it. We're probably going to be shifting back to the other styles once we get the phone in hand. So until next time, catch you in the next video.